It's Hauser. Wings Hauser. I mean, do I actually look like some tall, tan, golden boy who runs up and down the beach in slow motion in tiny, tight trunks, huh? Is that what I look like? Wrong, huh? Does this look like Pamela Anderson?
No, sir.
No, sir, what?
No, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Hauser.
Hey, Pookie, you make a mean mole. Probably getting ptomaine poisoning and we don't even know it. Jesus, you are the most ungrateful, miserable bastard I've ever met in my life. Ungrateful? No. Miserable? Absolutely.
That's trash.
Hello, and welcome to That's Cool, That's Trash, the podcast where we watch a psychotronic movie online, then get together on Skype to break down the crazy. I'm Matt Howell, and I'm joined today by our old friend Jason Farrell. Hey, Jason.
Hey. How's it going, everybody?
And Andrew Shaw. Hey, Andrew.
Hello.
I believe this is the first time you guys have been on several episodes, but never together, yes?
Correct.
That's right.
Right. Well, whenever I would book Jason on a show or Andrew on a show, Jason would remind me, you still have never had me on the same show as Andrew. And I would say, I will do it next time. And then I would forget. And I did that like for 2 or 3 years. And so since we're ending the show after Wings Hauser month, I figured we should probably get it off the to-do list.
Yeah, I think I've been on with everybody who's done, more than a couple of shows now. So
I think so, yes.
Seemed only right.
Yes, you are part of the inner circle. So I think that you guys, it was the inevitable team up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves Harley Quinn. Everybody loves Deadpool. Just put them in a fucking thing together. God damn it.
I don't know if I look that good in tights.
We all look like Wolverine. No haircuts.
So you guys have both been on revival episodes. So yep. I don't need to do the formality of how you doing or how you been surviving or all that kind of jibber jabber. We did all that.
Yeah, it all still applies.
The only thing that's changed is that America realized that we might have an issue with racism. And
right.
Since there's no professional sports or new television shows, people actually got off the couch and started to do something about it.
And they keep doing something about it. The momentum of this is pretty significant.
It is. It's very impressive to me. And I would like to think that it's people's interest in justice that did it. But the cynical part of me wonders how much of it is no bread in circuses.
Boredom.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of both. But we live in Portland, as you know, Andrew, and there's been protests here every night. But to the north of us, Seattle, I don't know if you've been to the West Coast, but Seattle is Washington's largest city, and that had a massive, massive protest yesterday, I think it was. Like, people estimated at 800. Oh, wait, am I saying the wrong number? It was a ridiculous number of people. 80,000 people? Something like that.
I think that's right.
It was a huge percentage of the population of the city. So
that's changed.
That is, we're living change. We're living in change right now.
Yeah.
Where it ends up, nobody knows. But we may join you in Australia if, not to speak for Matt, but if November doesn't go the way we want, we'll have to flee long and far and go somewhere that's relatively nuke.
Yeah, I got a Babbel account. I'm trying to learn Australian because after November I might be bugging out.
Yeah.
So
come on. Come down.
Gotta speak the language.
I'll make sure there's some houses around here for you. Can we all live in the same street and it'd be great.
That sounds perfect.
And that's on Wolf Creek.
Yeah. But you just got to watch out for Razorback when you come in.
Okay.
And,
right.
Yeah.
Giant crocodiles and.
Yeah, I mean we do literally have a kangaroo who sometimes lives in our backyard. Like, I am a stereotype.
That's a cool stereotype.
Kangaroos are real?
Yeah, but like, I have walked out of my house. I'm 6 foot tall. I have walked out of my house and gone to walk down to where my comic room is, and he has been the kangaroo has been standing in the path, and he stands up and he's taller than me.
Wow.
It's one of those animals that are bigger than people realize.
Yeah, and I go, It's all right, sir. It's your backyard now. I'll go back inside.
I've had a coyote on an early morning dog walk, but that's about it. That sounds a lot more impressive to me.
I'm not fighting a kangaroo.
Yeah, possums, raccoons, and squirrels are about my limit.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Looney Tunes. That would not end well for you. So happy June, by the way, guys.
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I forgot.
No,
we got to.
Sure. June's great.
June is Wings Hauser month, which is our kind of national holiday. We have April, which is halfway to Halloween month, but that's kind of business as usual for us. But June is where we really got to pull out all the stops and do some Wings celebrations. So
I don't know if this is the time or place.
Yes.
You can tell me offline if you want, but why do you do a Wings Hauser month? And I'm not no aspersion cast upon Mr. Hauser, but like of all the actors, how did his filmography become the national holiday filmography? Great question.
And that's an organic question. I did not send you that or ask you to ask me that or anything. That's not a slow one over the plate. So 2 years ago, we watched a movie called Get Even, also known as Road to Revenge, also known as Champagne and Bullets, I think. And it was filmed in the early 90s, but not completed until 2007. And it's one of those things, the director John DeHart is like a Tommy Wiseau or is it James Wen? I don't remember the Birdemic guy, but it's one of those things where he's an auteur like Neil Breen or whatever, and he runs the whole show and he thinks he's brilliant and he's completely deluded. So it's one of those perfect movies for us. But somehow, I believe he wrote a part of obviously stars in it, but his best friend, cop buddy, is a character named Huck or Finn. I can't remember, but I believe he wrote it for Dennis Hopper, but couldn't get Dennis Hopper, and so I might be wrong there, but he got Wings Hauser. So Wings is a guy that was always kind of like a Riff Trax MST3K kind of punchline. I knew the name. I've probably seen like Mutant. It's probably his most widely known. It's like a horror zombie kind of movie with Bo Hopkins, but he was just off the rails in it. I can see why he wanted Hopper. Like he was just very ad-libby, very big, and Kyle and Joe and I were just loving it, just eating it up with a spoon. And I started digging around, and I just realized, this guy, he's kind of like, I don't know if you guys remember this, but before the motorcycle wreck, Gary Busey could actually act. Yeah. And he had talent. Like if you're talking about Who Will Stop the Rain, sure. Straight Time with Dustin Hoffman, like that dude could act. He was actually.
Wasn't he in that movie? Wasn't he in that movie with the? Was it Treat Williams and his daughter as grifters? I forget the name of that one. It's a good movie though. Wasn't Gary Busey in that? Like a young Gary Busey, or maybe that was Randy Quaid. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Treat Williams? Wow, it's not ringing a bell at all.
I don't know. We'll edit this out in post.
I have a panting dog in here. Bye, Callie. Hi, Renee.
I can see the dog. The tail. Nothing but the tail.
Yeah. I would love to know what that is, but I don't know.
I think the actress is. I can't come up with any names right now, but it's the Bad News Bear as an actress.
Wow, I haven't seen that since I was a kid. We'll figure that out. We'll circle back around to that. But at any rate.
I'll find it.
The guy just worked. He was a workhorse. He started off in soap operas. He started off in music. He was in like a folk psych pop group in the 60s. And then he did his own solo album. His dad was an actor, but he did his own solo album in the early 70s. And then he started acting in a soap opera. And he hated his role because he was like the good boyfriend. He called himself a Ken doll with a plastic no penis crotch or whatever, And so when he got the role of Ramrod, the pimp in a Vice Squad, he took that chance to do all the acting he couldn't do while playing a Ken doll soap opera boyfriend, and got noticed and started working like a maniac in B movies. And the guy made like 96 movies in, I don't know, a handful of years. Like he was just super busy, and I just got really into him. I don't know. So after that Get Even movie, we're like, hey, we should watch another one. Let's dig into this guy's filmography a bit. And we did that Mind, Body, and Soul movie that had that Ginger Lynn Allen in it. And we said we should just do this. Let's just make June the month. And so this is the third year of doing that.
Paper Moon. I'm not surprised you didn't guess it though. Because
I didn't want to question you. I was going to say, don't you mean Ryan O'Neal?
Names wrong. Yeah, Ryan
O'Neal. Okay, and Tatum O'Neal. Sure. Okay. I was going to ask, but I didn't want to insult you.
I mean, if you're right, you're right.
I don't know if Gary Busey was in Paper Moon.
I don't think I got that right either. I basically got nothing right except that it was a movie and not like a song.
Good job.
Thanks.
Yes. So this is the end of the revival. It's June, so Wings Hauser month is the end of the revival for now. I hit everything I wanted to, everything I said I was going to at the start of the comeback, except for one, which is Don't Go in the Woods. Don't Go in the Woods Alone. Don't. Something like that. Some early slasher.
Yeah.
So at some point I might scare somebody up and do that one. But I did hit all the other ones that I said I was going to do. And the world's kind of starting again, so...
Yeah. I think the world needs That's Cool, That's Trash, Matt.
Well,
yeah.
Then That's Trash needs a booker. Take that off my hands.
Well, that's what
it was cool. When Shelter in Place first started, everyone was shell shocked and completely just flummoxed. And I said, I'm going insane. I need to see some friends, see some faces, do some whatever. And Renee said, just why don't you start the podcast? People might want to hear it too while they're stuck in their homes. So it made sense at the time, but that was like 3 months ago. And, I don't know. That kind of, I'm down, I'll do it anytime kind of thing is starting to kind of ebb away from people, and people are getting into their schedules again. It becomes more of a chore. And so when it stops being fun, I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. No, of course. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I love doing it in the moment like this. I love publishing and I love talking about the movies online, but I don't like scheduling and trying to hunt people down. I don't want to sell cars. I don't want to sell life insurance or timeshares. I'm not into selling anything. So, when it becomes work like that, I stop.
Fair enough, too.
Yeah. All right. Well, our movie tonight is a don't want to tip my hand here too much. I did preview this last year and threw it in the rejection pile 30 minutes in.
3 minutes in?
30.
30. Oh, okay.
I'm a semi-professional.
I hate these credits.
Damn these production logos.
Yeah, I ended up circling back around to it because there's 2 more films coming this month, and one of them is very appropriate for what's happening in this country right now. So I picked that one. Another one is a completely bananas one, Norman Mailer's Tough Guys Don't Dance, which has Ryan O'Neal, by the way, Jason. But it's a notorious train wreck of a movie. So I've always wanted to do that one. And so I felt like we're getting away from the other one's Gang Boys, which Wings wrote and directed and starred in with his son Cole Hauser. And it's he plays a drunken cop in self-exile in Baja, drinking himself to death, and his estranged gay son gets beaten and hospitalized by some skinheads. So he comes back, and there's some amazing training montages, and he reconnects with his ex-wife Linda Blair, and they go kick some Nazis' asses. So I was like, that has to be one of these movies this month.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah. So you guys got the dog of the.
We got the pandemic, and that one's going to be the social justice thing.
Yes, but I wanted the other movie to be
and God knows what the other thing is going to be.
A genre film. So it's sci-fi technically, and it did have the plague stuff going on. So thin connection. But this was made in 1987, and it was made by Gregory Brown, and he made a film we did last year called Street Asylum, which was marketed as a RoboCop ripoff, but it was not at all. It was about police in LA getting B-modded with chips in their heads. Whenever they get injured, they get chips in their heads and become really aggro and aggressive. The same guy directed that, and that movie wasn't very good either. So this guy, Gregory Brown, Gregory Hippolyta, I think is his actual name, is a porn director who crosses over into genre films at sometimes. So after he made the film, I haven't even said the name of the movie. We're watching Dead Man Walking tonight, which is from 1988. And after Gregory Dark made that, he went back to his roots and made Backdoor Bonanza 12 or something like that. And then he made Street Asylum like a year later. And then he went back to his roots and made, I think it's called Between the Cheeks 2.
Yeah, there's the Between the Cheeks. The movie that he made that seems like the most famous, what is it, Devil and Miss Jones or something like that?
Actual classic adult film?
Right. I think that's the one. Let me see.
I didn't go that far back in his.
It's earlier. Yeah, the Devil and Miss Jones 3 and 4 he made.
Oh. Yeah, they didn't get good till 3.
Complete the quadrilogy.
I'd heard of those, or I'd heard of that, at least the first part of it.
See, for your Australian listeners, they'll get a laugh out of you saying he going back to his roots because, having a root in Australia means to have sex. So there you go.
That's right.
Wow. What was there? An unintentional comment.
So when Americans talk about their rooting for their team, that means a whole different thing in Australia.
Okay.
But we're going back to
some fans that actually means the same thing.
And what about fanning?
Yeah,
is the fanning the UK or the US?
Yeah, it's the UK version.
Okay, that's cool.
It seems like looking at just scanning through the titles, it looked to me like this movie and Street Asylum are pretty much the only ones, at least full length, and probably entirely. The only ones that he made that were not porn. Pretty close to that anyway. I mean, it's a fairly long list, but
I think he has quite a bit of like TNA 90s stuff, like that was made for Cinemax, kind of softcore.
Diaries.
Did make some music videos too. I guess that would be a different sort of thing.
Okay. At any rate, there was some crossover between these two films. Both had Wings Hauser and Brian James. And the guy, one of the other escapees is an African-American guy. He played Wings' like cop, who's this insane B-modded cop that's all roided out. So there's some connective tissue. I'm going to ask one of you guys to take the reins here and explain what Dead Man Walking is. Explain this world and this plot.
Do you want to do that, Andrew, or do you want me to do it?
All right, I will try. I'll try and explain it off the top of my head rather than reading like an Internet Movie Database. But it starts. I won't even go through the start because we can talk about that later. But it's pretty much that there's a plague ravaging America with mutants. People were turning into weird mutant creatures, which just looks like people with like a bit of
paper mache on their face.
Yeah,
oatmeal.
Bit of oatmeal on the face. Yeah. And Jeffrey Combs, who's in the movie as well, is a limo driver for a rich guy and his daughter. And Brian James is a serial killer. I think he's a serial killer.
He's a bad dude, anyway.
He's a bad dude. That'll do. He escapes from prison and he comes across their limo and he kills the dad, kidnaps the daughter and leaves Jeffrey Combs. And so Jeffrey Combs hires Wings Hauser's character Luger. Like the gun.
Like the gun.
Yeah, like the gun.
In the movie, yeah, because we missed that. He has one too.
To get the girl back.
Yeah, that's basically it. The rich guy is not only a rich guy, he's the rich guy because I forget his first name, but his last name is Unitas. And Unitas is the name of the kind of ubiquitous mega corporation in this world. We see their logo, their signs numerous times.
Yes.
And for some reason, he goes through this dangerous area just with his limo driver and just driving along like he's on a picnic.
Yep.
I believe that they were surveying where a housing project was going to be, which is essentially a work camp for people that are dying.
Right.
And his daughter wanted to come along because, white privilege.
People are neat looking.
She wanted to be a tourist.
The mutants.
She wanted to be a tourist and see the mutants. Yeah, essentially.
Andy wouldn't even let me out of the car at that construction place or whatever it was.
As I explained to you before, these people are contagious. You came into contact with one of them.
Yes, I'd turn into a mutant or something. So what's the big deal? I don't see anything.
Well, it's not what you can see that'll kill you, believe me. It's what you can't see.
Anyway, it's perfect for building.
Building? Who cares about building? Oh, I want to see the plague people, Daddy.
Honey, these people are in the last stages of the disease. It's not pretty.
When are you going to stop treating me like a child? I'm 20 years old. I think I can handle it. God, I don't even know why I came. I'm not going to get to see anything.
Leila, here's your chance.
I feel weird saying mutants because that's giving this way too much credit.
No, they're basically people. They're just people who are sick and stumbling along. They look like homeless people, or if you're in a club, they look like, I don't know, just edgy people.
They look like trauma extras.
Trauma extras is a good way to put it. Yeah.
Jason, can you explain? So this is set in the distant future of 1997. So 10 years after it's made, which is a brilliant production tactic, because then it's like, well, it's not the distant future. I don't have to have, giant buildings and flying cars and giant women eating sushi and on video screens that are 80 stories tall, because it's 10 years from now. Or triple-breasted women. It's just 10 years. Like this shit I think they allude to the fact that the epidemic is 10 years old. So like it essentially started when this film was made, and we're seeing 10 years of ravaging,
Right.
But long enough for one corporation to take over everything.
In 1394 AD, Europe and Asia were all but destroyed by the Black Plague. 6 centuries later, a new virus annihilated half the world's population. After the epidemic, major corporations reclaimed the earth and divided nations into plague zones. The healthy were allowed to live freely. The diseased were imprisoned in these zones. By 1997, a third group of survivors emerged, called Zero Men. Infected with the non-contagious yet fatal strain of the plague, the Zero Men had 1 to 2 years left to live. With knowledge of their impending death, their behavior was sometimes erratic.
Jason, will you explain? So there's obviously, this made me think of so many better projects. There was a short-lived series on maybe sci-fi or something called Incorporated. Did you guys see that? I think it got canceled mid-first season, but it was this dystopian story about where there's a physical divider between the working class and the rich, and people come in. And anyway, it just made me think of a lot of different stories that I liked more.
That has been done a million times. In some form or another, the rich live in cities and the poor live around it, or the rich live in in the clouds and the poor people live below in the mines or in the planet that got blown up.
Well, it's
that one comic that never seems to want to finish, Seeds or whatever it's called, the Burger book, which was pretty cool actually. That has a very similar idea. It's been done a lot. It's a really easy sci-fi kind of dystopian way to look at class warfare.
Right. I mean, it's just taking feudalism in our history and just ratcheting it up with a little speculative. Right.
Yeah, like the Mask of the Red Death kind of stuff, where shit's gone down, the rich people have the means to isolate themselves from it, and everybody is left to fend for themselves.
Yeah. So there's the sick people and the well people, and the sick people are sent out to live and die, I guess, essentially in the plague zone. Jason, will you explain there's a third strata of the population that kind of straddle both of them? Can you explain what Zero Men are?
Well, I remember that they're people who they know that they're going to die, right? Yes. They don't. I mean, Wings Hauser's character, John Luger, is a Zero Man. As is Brian James. They're both Zero Men. They don't have physical. They don't have oatmeal on their faces, but they know that they're going to die from it. I guess I actually don't remember entirely, but the whole Zero Man idea there's a lot of scenes in this movie where Wings Hauser and others they're convinced that they're going to die, so they basically flirt with death constantly. And they play all these games where, like, you pull the cord on a chainsaw next to my neck, and then I do for you. It's like Russian roulette with the chainsaw. They do
that was my favorite scene.
They do play Russian. It's like the first scene. They do play Russian. Exactly. It's all downhill from there for Andrew.
Yeah, pretty much.
They set a guy on fire. They play Mumbledy Pig constantly. Apparently, the thing where you try to put a knife in between your fingers really fast.
That's what that's called. Thank you.
Yeah, they just do tons and tons of stuff like that, which I won't say it right now, but at the very end of the movie, we get a wonderfully touching scene with Wings and Jeffrey Combs where he decides that maybe he wants to live after all.
Thank you. Initial impressions.
Loved it. Well, not quite,
really?
But
no. Really?
No, but I actually liked it. I rate these things. When I watch movies for this podcast, I don't really rate them relative to real movies, like movies that I would watch intentionally. I more or less rate them compared to the movies I've watched for this podcast. And there's enough of them now. There's like a dozen or something that I can kind of do that. So I would put this in the upper half of that list. I actually was surprised when I think it was, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but I mean, I was amidst the movie when I looked up the director's IMDb page, and I'm like, obviously I didn't expect him to be an accomplished director, but I was surprised that he was a porn director and really hadn't done much of anything else, because I actually thought it was competently directed. It didn't look very good. I don't know if that's just a byproduct of watching it on YouTube and such. It looked pretty shit, but as far as like shots and composition and continuity and editing and stuff like that, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. Some of the actors are real actors. I mean, Jeffrey Combs obviously is a real actor, kind of. I mean, I guess he's still a B-movie actor, but he's close enough to a real actor for me.
He's classically trained.
Brian James, I mean, he's been in a shit ton of bad movies, but he's also a guy that's been in a lot of movies. Can I just say,
Brian James, I always thought was South African because I only ever saw him in Tango and Cash.
Oh.
So it's the first, and so I always just think he's got a great American accent when he's not being South African.
Is he American? I don't even know. Is he in fact American?
I believe so.
Where was he born?
Yeah, but yeah.
I was mostly, I don't know if I was glad or sad that he got rid of the clown hair early in the movie. I was kind of looking forward to him having an orange fro the entire time, but that didn't last.
Hey, Gordon. Deck was a zero man on death row. Now he's a walking dead man. Yeah, he's a psycho snake, and I don't want him near me. Hey, you! Shut up. Come on, let's move it.
Yeah, my initial impressions are that I actually was able to watch like 30 plus minutes at a time of this one, which is good. Dracula Shaitan took me days and days because I could only watch like 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah, that's an eclipse.
I have a feeling I'm going to end up liking this one more than you guys, which is kind of a novelty for me. That's not usually the case.
And Andrew, I'm getting a vibe, but initial impressions.
Look, same with Jason. In the movies that you've made me watch for this podcast.
Why you don't have to say it like that. The movies that you've exposed me to or offered up.
What word do you want us to use? Forced, blackmail?
Yeah. It's no Houseboat Horror, which is my favorite of the movies I've watched for this podcast.
Which one?
Houseboat Horror. But that's also, I'm biased as well, because that's a fantastic Australian film.
And you picked it.
And you picked it.
I bought it on DVD. I still have the DVD of that one.
You are super biased, as it turns out. I was in it. I directed it.
Yeah, but it's better than, what was the last one we did? Wild Beasts? Was that the last one we did?
What?
No, not Wild Beasts. What was the one we did with
we did that
Scalped. Scalps, whatever it was. Yeah, it was much better than Scalps.
Oh God, yeah.
Huh?
It's not.
I don't know if I agree.
Matt doesn't agree with that.
I usually, I used to ask people to check their tap out time, which is the time when you actually look at your watch or pause it and see how much is left. I feel like I hit that 30-minute mark when I originally watched it the second time around, and then I looked at it every 4 to 7 minutes afterwards until it was over. I think I stopped watching it like 5 times and picked it up and watched 10 minutes and turned it off. This one was rough for me. Probably because the premise, like the opening crawl with the VO and the premise and the Zero Man and the plague and the future and the dystopia, all interesting stuff to me. I'm not a huge sci-fi guy, but I'm down for dystopia. This did nothing with any of that. Like this has such a rich. Yeah, go ahead.
Was it like I just found it kind of boring?
Oh, it was dull as ditch water.
There was so much they could have done, like showing the aftermath of Brian James's massacres and stuff like that. Like there could have been so much more, but it was just. And you've got Wings Hauser, you've got Jeffrey Combs, you've got some good actors, and it was just boring.
One thing that was a little, I haven't watched Wings Hauser movies. I don't think I've seen any Wings Hauser movies other than this one. And you telling us about how. I don't know if Matt's actually listening right now because he's grimacing to
my wife.
Sorry. Talking to us about the other Wings Hauser movie where he was whatever batshit drinking himself to death and he was unhinged. I forget the name of it already. But the one you were just talking about, the one you were literally just talking about 10 minutes ago.
With his son.
Get Even?
Sure.
Gang Boys?
the one that started the whole thing, the one that started the Wings Hauser, because you're like, wow, he's so great. He was he sleptwalked. Sleptwalked? How do you say that?
Sleepwalk.
He was sleepwalking through this one. He has an easy charisma, like he's a good-looking guy, whatever, right? But he just kind of like smiles to himself a lot, and he doesn't really emote much, and there's not a lot of physicality for most of the movie. So now I kind of want to see a more engaged Wings Hauser. So that part was a little bit dull to me. I thought Chazz, which is the name of the character of Jeffrey Combs, was a little bit more, and Brian was a little more dynamic slightly. And then Brian James, of course, he's doing the thing where it's like, I'm crazy, and his eyes are like bugging out all over the place. But I was like, okay, he's crazy. That's fine. He does some crazy stuff. That's cool. So I guess Wings was a little boring to me. Sorry, on your birthday and everything, but I wasn't looking bored by the movie.
I honestly, part of why I love Wings is that he is such a workhorse and that he never really phones anything in. Like he always shows up, and that's been the kind of a recurring theme and stuff that we've seen. So I was a little, he didn't, I feel like he didn't have nobody. Like I kept, every time Jeffrey Combs said something, I wanted to make a sound effect, but I didn't have the time. I wanted to have like a referee whistle and like say like, misuse of Jeffrey Combs 15-yard penalty. Like just like there's, you're not you like this guy, this director. I'm surprised we're so at odds here, Jason, because like this guy could extract tension and interest out of any sequence. You could be defusing a bomb, which happened, I think, in this film, and still make it uninteresting somehow. Things that are inherently exciting are boring when this guy does them as a director. So I was a little bummed by Wings's performance as well, but I don't know.
Doesn't sound like we're at odds. This is the only movie I've seen with him. So
yeah.
I'm only talking about this movie, which you're saying you do agree that
I agree with you. Yeah,
this performance was pretty sedate, like not really. Yeah.
This was the first Wings Hauser movie I've seen where, and I watched like 4 or 5 for every one I pick, where like,
wow,
I was just like, dude, Wings, hey, we're rolling. Like it was.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
But that's everybody though. Except for Brian James. Jeffrey Combs had nothing to do.
Yeah, I guess not a lot. But this brings up another thing. One person who had like negative to do, like it was a concave amount to do, was the girl. I don't even remember her name.
Leila.
The kidnapped Leila. It would be very easy for me to say that this director is a misogynist, based on this film and just like the idea that if you make porn, maybe you are. I don't know, but I mean that's a lot of assumptions. But the female characters are almost non-existent in this movie, and she's the most prominent one, and she's just a vacuum of a person. Like, she chatters away in the beginning in the car. Oh, Daddy, let's stop and see the plague people, which is fine because even though that makes her annoying, that's character, right? And then I'm thinking very early in the movie that maybe this is going to be, she's going to evolve or whatever.
I warned you.
I didn't think it would be that bad.
At least with this new housing project, they'll have a place to live.
You mean a place to die? That one looks like a prison.
It's a housing complex. One of our best. Believe me, they'll be happy to live in it.
Aha.
This will be home to a lot of people.
I don't see why you have to jam them all together.
It's called crowd control. A necessary part of the Unitas plague strategy, which means...
You cram them all together and work them to death.
Honey, that's not the way we like to put it.
But the whole time, once she gets captured by Decker, Brian James' character.
Not like the gun.
All she does, no, like the chainsaw, actually.
Yeah.
She's just staring into space. Like she kind of, I think if you had to guess at all, it's not like she doesn't seem to be traumatized by it as much as she's like actually into it. She does a few little things where she's like on Decker's side.
I was expecting some Stockholm syndrome, very much so.
Yeah.
I picked up on that a little bit. I couldn't tell if it was intentional or not, or if it's just bad acting and directing.
She barely registers, though, so it's just like there's nothing there. She's
so there is insinuated rape.
Hardly says anything.
The first night that Decker has her.
When he rubs the blood all over her face and she's totally creepy, licking her mouth off.
And as it fades out, there's kind of a whimper moan kind of sound. So I assume that was the worst. But yeah, right. Jason, I'm with you. She was played by Pamela Ludwig, and she is the star of Pale Blood, Andrew, which I believe you purchased from Vinegar Syndrome, that new really nice limited edition. Yeah. And she is pretty good in it. So I was surprised to see her do nothing in this.
Yeah, so she's capable. She was just, it was like what you were saying is that all the energy gets like sucked out of the people in this movie.
Yeah, it's like how Natalie Portman can be the best or the worst actress depending on the director, I think. Like you get a Black Swan or whatever and like, wow, she's really talented. And then you get like a prequel or whatever. World. Yeah, it's just like, wow, you are the most wooden cardboard person I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't know. I think that the Gregory Dark/Brown/Hippolyta has a special gift. Like he's one of Charles Xavier's gifted students, and his power is leeching talent from people.
Maybe
and instead of putting it into his own powers, he just shits it out his ass.
Oh, so
or makes really good porn for all we know.
He's not a Colin Robinson.
Film.
Yeah. So part of my issue with this, for one thing, I think Andrew alluded to it a little bit, was that it was ugly. And Jason, I downloaded a better quality that was not a VHS rip. That wasn't just the soft VHS transfer. That the movie's just ugly. It was clearly just shot in some like garbage landfills or some kind of like wrecking yards and stuff like that. And they just kind of spread some litter around. It was just haphazard. It was not visually engaging in any way. There's this huge concave in the plot where like the first act could be interesting and the final act just by necessity has a climax, but there's this gaping hole in the middle where it's just like, what happened? They got in a car they went to a Soylent Green place, and then they went to a different cafe, and then they all fought.
Smallest factory, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the joke was that it's a morgue / canning food processing plant, right? So the joke is that they're.
But it's like the size of a small garage, and it has 2 people in it.
But
so
you're meant to understand that they're canning people flesh and serving it to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure.
No, very.
And then
very,
there's the cafe they go to at the end where when Jeffrey Combs slams the door, the whole place shakes.
I didn't notice.
Always makes me laugh. It was great. He slams that door, and then it looked like literally the whole building was about to come down on his head.
Something you said, Matt, about the ending, where how did you put it? Where the finale had to happen or something like that.
Yeah.
That part made me laugh or like kind of be annoyed because Wings Hauser doesn't actually Luger doesn't do too well against Brian James for the most part, and I mean Brian James gets the best of him a couple of times, and the second time he attaches jumper cables to his nipples and he shocks him almost unto death, and they're lying there. And they can't find a better place to lie than like right next to a couple corpses apparently. But they're lying there sleeping, like he's recovering. And so you get the idea that they're sleeping there for hours. And then they wake up and they have to walk like 10 feet to get to the girl. And it's like, how does that work? That was just insanely convenient and strange. The bad guy never thought to leave or kill them or anything. Just kind of waits for them to wake up. 8 hours later, here we are. That was very dumb.
You would think that in the late 80s, considering the landscape of action buddy cop type movies, that somebody would have made a little hay out of Luger being this loose cannon a la Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon, has nothing to live for or die for, whatever, and then Chazz is this uptight, whatever. Like, there's comedy stuff to be mined there. This could have been a buddy comedy action movie, but
there's no
Gregory Dark is such a fucking dipshit that he can't fucking even see it. Yeah, there was a little. Yeah, I know. And like, I've been cutting together these little under a minute long preview videos and putting them on Instagram for these movies to let people know there's a new episode out. And my cut is better than this whole fucking movie. Like, I made it look like it's a buddy comedy action movie that's just surreal and silly. And I was like, damn, that actually looks interesting. I'd watch that movie.
And then you'd find out it's this movie.
Yeah, I mean.
So did anyone else feel the interstitials with the news reporters were added to pad out the runtime?
I thought they were added. You brought up RoboCop earlier, but you compared it to the other movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought those were absolutely RoboCop. They were. Yeah. RoboCop came out about a year earlier, and they were exactly like those Starship Trooper RoboCop kind of, satiric newscaster things.
Yeah.
The clear blue skies of Southern California turned blood red today when a squadron of F-16 fighter jets intercepted a small commercial airliner that accidentally strayed within 5 miles of Air Force One.
The President and First Lady were on their way to the Palm Springs Celebrity Golf Tournament. Fortunately, the security incident did not delay their scheduled appearance before enthusiastic crowds at the annual event.
On a more disturbing note, teenage youths armed with grenade launchers struck again on the streets of Los Angeles last night. One innocent motorist was killed, his wife and 3 children injured. Rival gangs say police are fighting for control of the downtown area's few remaining parking spaces. Mary?
To me, it felt like he'd shot the movie, he'd shot 10 hours of footage. He got in the editing room and went, oh, cool, cut. Shit, I've only got an hour. And then went, we need to film something else.
Well, I liked them. I thought that they provided pretty much the only humor in the movie. I mean, you could debate how funny any of it was, but I thought it was pretty much the only humor in the movie. And other than the woman's like disturbingly high forehead,
it's a 5-head.
I actually liked those parts. I thought they fleshed out a little bit of the because like you said, all we see of the world is basically like one giant dusty junkyard. But those were our only glimpses of kind of, and they were very silly. You know, they were like, I can't remember any examples, but they demonstrated a world gone so completely sideways that the whole frame of reference for what is normal or good has been blown apart.
Can I give you an example?
Like only 1 million people shot today, down from yesterday, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Talks at Unitrans, the Department of Transportation, broke off this morning after 3 days of negotiations failed to produce an agreement. The controversial new proposal under debate calls for a zone-wide speed limit of 110 miles per hour in order to curb increased freeway fatalities. Mario?
Traffic officials estimate that after 15 years of deregulation, accidents resulting in death now occur once every 4 seconds. And as the bodies pile up, Unitrans spokesmen say that talks should resume next week. Meanwhile, commuter traffic was severely snarled in all directions while medical crews continue their around-the-clock cleanup activities.
It's getting harder and harder to drive to work these days, isn't it?
Absolutely true.
I guess that's humor. Thinking a Muppet Show kind of funny level.
What's wrong with the Muppet Show, Matt?
I hate the Muppet Show. I always have.
Wow.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
I think that makes you Waldorf.
Sure.
If that's his name. Is that his name?
Statler Waldorf, yeah.
I don't know. Can he leave? If he can leave, then I'd be happy.
He lives in a balcony box, and there's no doors into it. He just lives there. That's his whole existence.
So it's a
He was born there and he'll die
nightmare.
there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Purgatory. Anyway, I agreed that those were padding, Andrew, and they irritated me because it was all tell, don't show, like just another way of cutting corners and building a world without building any kind of world.
Yeah.
And using humor to kind of make it like a little like, it's not a big deal. It's just a joke.
They didn't further the plot or anything either. Like sometimes I get it if you use something like that to, bit of exposition or something that you don't have the budget to show. It's a great thing to do. But when you're just sort of going, hey, look, and thousands of people die on our freeways anyway, and it goes back to the movie, it means nothing.
Yeah,
I think it means exactly that, though. It means like it communicates how casual it is. It communicates, like I said, like the complete shifting of what is normal. I think that actually is communicating something. If he was horrified by that, and it would be a completely different message.
My favorite part is that the final one of those tells us about what would have been the most interesting part of the entire film, but we all get to hear about it in the past tense.
The ending.
That once Luger finds out that there is a cure for the plague and that it's all just corporate bullshit that prevents it from being out for the people, we find out from news reporters that he broke in and got it and sent the recipe out or something, and now he's on the run. Like, wow, that sounds like something I would want to see as a film goer.
John Luger was arrested last week following his theft of highly classified files from the United Institute for Plague Research. Upon his capture, Luger told authorities that he had already leaked information from the files to several as yet unnamed local journalists. He claims the secret documents contain a safe and effective cure for the plague. The Institute has dismissed his charges as preposterous. Meanwhile, officials continue their search for the stolen files and the escaped Zero Man.
What? How dare you? I mean, that's the sequel, right? It never got made.
Yeah. Dead Men Walking?
Dead Men Walking through Dead Harder?
Living Man running away from everyone.
Walking or Deadier?
I don't know. It's getting longer and longer.
So he had a cool name, Luger, like the gun. That was cool.
Yeah, like the gun.
That's actually his full name.
And he had a Luger too in his car.
Luger like the gun. Let's talk about the bar scenes. That was a pretty big chunk.
This is my brother when he pulled the Luger gun out. This is my brother.
Beretta.
Beretta.
As long as we don't talk about the MC at Cafe Death, I'm fine.
Oh God. She did the Brian James, like, I am crazy thing, but much worse somehow. Like, it was just so... this is the kind of thing I notice.
A little gasoline. Darling Cupid, It's only gasoline. Here it is, darling, gasoline. Ooh. Oh, don't forget. Oh, Cupid. Oh.
Excuse me. Can I have one of these?
But wait, there's more. The torch! Dear Cupid, darling. The torch.
It seems like I'm the only one that worries about this kind of stuff, but so this what he's referring to, there's this woman on, like, there's this like a stage show, and she brings this guy up. What's his name? He's got some kind of, like, she says his name. Cupid, right, Cupid. He's just this guy in his suit named Cupid for some reason. And she's being very theatrical, and she puts him against this wall or whatever, and then she gets a blowtorch and she traces around him with a blowtorch.
After the gasoline.
Petrol on him.
And right after pouring gasoline on him. And the crowd doesn't like it. They're obviously not impressed. But the thing is, I mean, this is all building, like, they're not impressed, right? They're booing, and then she kind of feigns, or I don't really know if the intention is that she's feigning it or she's, like, genuinely surprised. And then she's like, oh, I can't go further, and then she sets him on fire. But that all makes some sort of sense. But the thing is, when she very first starts and hasn't done anything yet but poured petrol on him, the crowd is already booing.
Yeah.
As if they know she's not going to go very far, which is dumb. It makes no fucking sense. They should be, like, anticipating at that point and then get disillusioned by the lack of death. So it's like stuff like that always bugs me. It's like it's not thought out. Like it doesn't take any more effort or budget to make that make sense. So make it fucking make sense.
Yeah, they made it seem like she's a performance artist who is, like, tracing this guy in fire on the wall behind him, making this figure, but he's covered in petrol, like Andrew said, so that there's a risk, there's danger. So she's making art, but there's danger involved. So everyone's just like, I don't know, the impression is supposed to be like she does this this is her thing, like she's just an artist who makes this shitty art. Or I might be reading too much into it already. But she is, I've never seen anyone that big or that camp or that whatever in any of these movies. Like, I wanted to punch her in the face and pull her innards out through her fucking mouth. Like, that was the most annoying performance I think I've ever seen. If nothing else, I think people need to watch this movie. Fast forward to the hour mark or whatever and watch this fucking thing. It was obnoxious as fuck.
It's bad, but it's like 2 minutes long.
It is the worst thing that's ever happened in human history.
There are performances for full movies that are that bad, Matt. Come on.
I'd rather watch Shaitani Dracula on mushrooms and have a colonoscopy.
Don't even say it.
Than fucking see that goddamn 2-minute scene again then.
No, you don't mean it. You don't mean it.
I do. I'll do it right now. I'll do it for fucking charity.
Who would that benefit?
Anybody, I don't care. But that was the worst thing.
One thing that I liked, it was a weird little just visual gag. At one point, you see this very ugly toad-looking person sitting against the wall with a lot of hair, and then later on, they get up, and the hair is just part of the wall, so they just kind of slip out of. It's just a wig there for anybody who needs one.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
That was a sight gag.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make a lot of sense, but that's okay. It doesn't have to make any sense.
What was weird to me was at the beginning, they clearly are doing a Mos Eisley thing where it's like, oh, you need a Zero Man or someone who's going to take you into the plague zone to get Leila. Go here. Like, these people are fucking crazy. You'll find someone there. So it's like, oh, so that's the whole, whatever. But then they're like, oh, Cafe Death makes whatever the other place is called look like Disneyland. And it's like, did it?
No, it's pretty much the same.
And they just had oatmeal on their face because they're all actively dying while the Zero Men are all dying internally. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't worse for sure. It was kind of just more of the same. They were all still playing their same games of like, we're gonna die anyway, so let's die on purpose.
They were
was that
sitting
one guy
around
with the
watching a
machete.
shitty cabaret performance.
Of a guy getting set on fire. So, I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but in the first place, there's a bear trap with a cigarette in it, and people are taking turns trying to get the cigarette out without having the bear trap go off on their heads. That's interesting.
Very
roulette,
soft.
chainsaw roulette, yeah.
Chainsaw roulette. Interesting.
You knew they weren't going to show it, though, right? I mean, that was pretty much a given. They didn't even I knew they weren't going to show it, and that's fine. I'm not really a gore hound. But they didn't even do, like, the supernatural WB level of gore where there's, like, a blood splatter.
With the chainsaw roulette ending?
There was, there was just nothing. It was just
I thought
like,
Wings was going to get sprayed.
Yeah, something. But no, there's almost no outward evidence.
The bear trap cigarette, when they went past that, I would have just had, you didn't even have to show it. You could have the noise of the clamp and then, like, even a Wilhelm scream, and there you go. That shows more than you need.
Yeah, the clamp would have. Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
That would have been funny. We have a modern sense of humor at the end of the world.
Ooh, extra hands.
Sorry.
Renee hands.
Yeah, there was attempts at humor, like when they show up at Cafe Death and they sidle up at the bar, and Jeffrey Combs immediately says, "Hey, we're looking for a guy named," and Luger looks at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Excuse me. We're looking for a guy. Never mind. Sorry.
There was.
I didn't even understand that. Can you explain it to me, Uncle Matt?
I think the idea was just that they're supposed to be subtly there looking for a dangerous psychotic killer, and so you don't announce it to the bartender like, "Hey, we're looking for the most insane guy in the district or whatever." You just quietly have a drink and look around. I don't know. That was the impression I got, where he's just like, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, I got the shut the fuck up. I just wasn't quite sure what was wrong with what Jeremy Combs was saying. But
Jeffrey?
I guess that explains it.
It was also funny with the hill. Okay, we need to talk about Oopsie or whatever the fuck the kid's name is. But like, there's this hillbilly dude who talks like a cowboy that they meet. This is after Luger. Like, okay, right. We have to also come back around the fact that Luger doesn't do anything. People say like,
no,
Raiders of the Lost Ark, like Indiana Jones literally does nothing. You pull him out of the story, and the story still happens in the same way or whatever.
I've never heard that.
That's like Luger. Like, he doesn't do anything, and when he does, he gets his ass handed to him.
He does.
Like, when they first encounter him, Luger buries them up to their neck in the middle of nowhere, right? So then this guy is driving along, and they holler at him.
But Decker buries them up to them.
Oh, Decker, I'm sorry. And they yell to him, and he stops, and like, they're chatting, and he's like, "Do you have a shovel?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Would you go get it, please?" Like, there's just a couple like glimmers of like, this could have had a little life to it.
He has to rely on the kindness of strangers a lot. And maybe despite his apparent misogyny, which we'll get, that was another example, Pookie. Maybe he also is not a toxic masculinity guy, because Decker is not really that tough a dude, and he gets beat a lot. And then the touching, which I'm saying sarcastically, but when he's been nippled, when he's been shocked, Chazz strokes his hair like a pet rabbit, and it's like, it's not ill received. It's just very, it's okay to be, for two men to be affectionate with each other and to comfort each other. It's all right. Rabbits, all right. Yeah. I mean, there's a certain aspect of that in this.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not a message of like, I put cigarettes out on my face and I'm just like, I can't be beat. The one thing that he does where he's finally successful, though, I thought it was really weird. So we get to see a truck and a man play chicken, which I don't know if I've necessarily ever seen that before, but Brian James, he doesn't want to run away. He wants to kill everyone. So he turns his truck around and he aims it back toward Luger. Now, in every action film I've ever seen up to this point, when someone has a gun and someone else is driving toward them, the person with the gun stands there and shoots at the windshield, giving themselves the maximum amount of time to hit the driver or a tire or something before the car runs them over, and then maybe they jump out of the way at the last minute. Luger runs toward the truck and then does a Superman leap to the side, like a John Woo thing, and shoots, and apparently shoots Brian James successfully at that point with his one shot. I guess that was heroic and manly, but it also seemed entirely unnecessary to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of the movie seemed totally unnecessary.
And it's only 10 years in the future, so you don't have to have any cool Mad Max type of cars. Awesome. So it's literally just like whatever that car was from 2 years before this movie was made, just kind of beat up a little bit, washed.
This was so much better than Fury Road. I would encourage you.
I will state something for the record. I don't like Fury Road.
Oh!
For reals?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Dead Man Walking is over. Everybody, thanks for listening. Now we're going to talk about Fury fucking Road and why Andrew is wrong.
It's the only Mad Max movie I like.
You don't like Road Warrior? And you never liked Road Warrior? Not even years ago?
When they were first out on home video, I just thought they're okay.
The Mad Max movie I don't like is the first one. I thought that one was very boring, but
more boring than Thunderdome.
I like to be on Thunderdome.
Oh,
but I really like Fury Road. Fury Road is my favorite for sure.
So what's up, Andrew? Why are you such a dick?
Hey, calm down, Muppet boy.
You like household horror because it's cheap.
Yeah,
George Miller is a treasure.
It was just a movie. Like, I didn't get the hype behind it.
It's too hyped. Did that happen to you? Did it get overhyped for you?
Maybe. I just thought it was just fine. It was, they drove to one point and then they turned around and drove back.
Well, there's no plot. That's true. But there's no plot. Not really.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Lots of great movies that had no plot.
Yeah. I saw it at the cinema. It was a spectacle on the big screen, but it just left me a bit, okay, it was fine. I saw it.
Man.
What's better?
It looked a lot better, that's for sure.
My Dinner with Andre? You snob.
I've never seen that one. Hey, come on now.
It's hilarious.
You know me. You know my movies.
I do.
We thought we knew you.
Yeah, I'm questioning everything now.
So, Pookie, so that was another one of these casual misogyny things where women in this movie are literally just property. And this farmer, played by Leland Crook apparently,
he's good.
Casually gives away his daughter Pookie. Now, of course, he doesn't
daughter or sister?
Sister.
I think it was his sister, wasn't it?
It's his little sister.
Oh, there seems to be a significant age difference. So I
can't cook for shit anyway.
Yeah, can't cook for shit anyway. And it's Decker that suggests it, and he seems right. Sorry, we're just gonna.
We're both doing that.
Like the gun.
He's the one that suggests it, which he seems to do as a forced hookup for Chazz.
What's them? Plague pills. I mean, vitamins. Plague pills? You haven't heard of plague pills? Oh. Well, how long you been out here? These things are guaranteed to work. Take away the pain, put you on the road to recovery.
Luger. Well, but I've got some oil in the truck. Maybe I could spare.
Oil? Now, mister, we're talking the difference between you living and dying.
All right. I got an old Uzi. I'll throw that in.
Wait a minute. Give me the pills.
No.
Give me the pills. No, these are my pills. Listen to me, you little weasel. Now, you broke my car trying to run out on me. Now, you owe me. Give me the goddamn pills. Thank you. You know, these pills are worth a hell of a lot more than a couple of cans of oil and an old Uzi.
Well, I reckon so.
Listen, I I owe my friend there a pretty big favor. I was thinking, I don't know, I'd give him something kind of special. How about throwing in that pretty little sister of yours with this?
Be glad to. She can't cook worth a damn anyway.
Like
Is
here,
that what that is?
I'm pretty sure.
I think to fuck with him as well. I think it was a lot of this weird faced girl is showing a lot of affection towards him. Let's take her along and see what happens.
And then she's like, I'm your girlfriend, and she talks about like that, and then she dies like that very night.
Yeah.
And Chazz is sitting there looking very morose about it for whatever reason. I guess just general humanity. And we're supposed to give a shit about all that. And I'm just like, this is all in like 5 minutes. Okay, you gave your sister into sexual slavery. The hero of the movie suggested the sexual slavery. The girl was nothing like, again, a complete void of a human. She doesn't even have human characteristics. And then she's dead, and we're supposed to care. It's like, no, that's not how this works.
Okay, I thought Luger did that as a mean-spirited joke because Chazz was so paranoid about being in the plague zone that he was popping his plague pills. But this is before it's like revealed that these are actual cures. I thought it was like some weird kind of like, you're the hypochondriac of, little nerdy whatever guy. So I'm going to give you a diseased companion as a cruel joke just to kind of be a dick, like, frat boy guy about it.
Yeah, I think it was an olive branch.
Look, I procured you
a rotting olive branch. Yeah.
Okay.
I also wonder. By the way, that's another thing. When they gave up their pills, when he was forced to give up his bag of pills, for what was it for? It was for something.
For oil and Pookie.
Right. It was for oil, and the whole conversation is like, well, darn well this oil is not worth as much as these pills, so throw in the girl. It's like, it's a bag of pills. It's not a pill. Why don't you just fucking take some of the pills out of the bag and pay that for the oil? Why do you got to give him the entire bag of pills? Why did Chazz never said, do you have to give him the entire fucking bag of pills?
And an Uzi.
Idiot.
Don't forget there was an Uzi.
Right.
Uzi, yes.
An Uzi, which, did they ever use the Uzi? I don't think so.
Nope.
I think he cocks it at one point. That's about it.
If there's a gun, eventually we will see whatever that old thing is. Not true in this movie. Not true.
It's not in the budget.
We can't make those sound effects.
Man.
Who'd have thought this movie would be, unclear with what it was trying to say?
So it sounds like I hated it, but actually, like I'm sticking to what I said at the beginning. Unlike it was for particularly Matt, this was nowhere near as painful for me as some of the other movies. I don't know. I didn't want to. Thinking too hard about this kind of stuff usually doesn't turn out well. But there were just little moments of competence or just decent little things that I glom to. And I guess in general I do like post-apocalyptic science fiction, even if it's not necessarily very good. It certainly wasn't very original. But
I feel like the little glimmers of
pass the time
stuff just made me angrier. Like if the whole thing was completely turgid and like plotting and like be like, well, you're completely inept unless someone's plugging someone else's holes. You don't know what to do as a director. But like, nope, you know what, you have a sense of humor. There was almost a joke there, and there was almost an exciting moment there in that little almost action scene, and then almost like they just made me angrier. Like the whole thing was just a bigger miss.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from you, that you saw this potential. I guess I never saw any particular potential. I was just grateful that it was as good as it was.
Well, I've gone to the dump before to drop stuff off, so I didn't need to see it for 90 minutes.
Things can go so terribly, terribly wrong.
Now, one of my other confusing bits was when they turn up at Luger's, not the gun, at Decker's massacre site when he's killed all those people and there's that dude with no legs and and he's got the jacket there, and they're like, "Oh, don't touch it, it's wired." And then he finally pulls it, and the head falls down.
Right.
Did anyone else think that was the little offsider he had? Like, he had the two guys with him. I thought it was the white guy he had with him.
I did too.
And then the next scene, he's there with him. It's like, what?
Right. I totally did. When he, when those two guys, his cronies, are getting ready to rape the girl or whatever they're going to do, and he comes in and he, like, knees one of them and headbutts the other or whatever, and they crumple to the ground and they're out. We don't, like, they're not even, we don't hear from them. And then he starts doing the blood smearing and the lip tonguing and all that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, are we meant to think they died? Like, is this guy so deadly that a knee to the groin kills you? And then, like you, when I saw the head, I thought, oh, well, either they did die or he killed them subsequently when they were unconscious, and that's the dude. And then, I was like, oh no, okay, they're alive. He didn't kill him.
Yeah, it would have made sense. It probably would have made it a bit more interesting.
But isn't there an issue with physics there? Like, that whole thing doesn't work to me, where it's like there's a head, strung up above you and you're in a trench. Like that, they showed where they are. It's like a covered, like, gauzy covered trenches. Like,
right.
It's the same thing with, like, horror movies when there's these jump scares. Like, you're standing in a hallway and then something comes out, like, off camera. It's like, yeah, that works for us, but I have peripheral vision. You couldn't just jump out like that nowhere. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I'd see it, yeah.
Wings is looking at it too. He's going like, "Don't pull it." And, like, all you have to do is look up.
Yeah.
Just look up, and you will see the head. Like, seriously.
I mean, maybe we can give him some credit that he did look up and he knew that was what was going to happen, because otherwise, intentionally tripping the trap was pretty stupid.
No, I think he was aware that it would be some kind of morbid calling card joke thing from Decker. He seemed to be amused as he was looking to the way to trigger the.
Yeah, well, he seemed to be amused 99% of the time. I mean, the only time he didn't look amused is when he was getting his nipples buzzed.
Yeah, he just turned on.
I think there should have been some more character work on Luger, like the gun, and he should have been a series like Riddick. Like, he should have been his own guy that has his own adventures with different people. But he had no backstory.
Why was he the guy he was? Why, where did he come from? Why was he the guy that needed to come in?
Why did that guy refer Chazz to him? Like, oh, you need a crazy blah blah guy in this bar full of dying, crazy, suicidal people. Mm-hmm. That guy over there, talk to him. Like, why? We never saw.
He's like, now I can get that freak out of my goddamn bar.
I'm looking for someone to do a job.
What kind of job?
I need some help to find someone, a girl.
So? Talk to the cops.
I tried. They won't go into the plague zone. Well, that's where they took her, into the plague zone. They kidnapped her. I need some help here.
You know who did it?
Yeah. A Zero Man, a guy named Decker.
Decker? In the plague zone? He'll do crazy things, but that's pushing it.
You know her?
He used to hang out here. He never liked anybody.
Look, buddy. Decker is completely insane. Nobody wants to mess with him.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because he's really lucky. Maybe it's as simple as that, because every game of Russian roulette he plays, he wins.
Maybe those cigars really stank and the bartender just wanted him out of there.
I'm sick of this guy dismantling bombs in my bar.
He keeps bringing bombs into my establishment. Where did that bomb even come from? Why was that even a thing?
That is a kind of a... That's playing Russian roulette with everyone in a 10-foot radius, or, or a 100-foot radius. Who knows what the... I mean, that joke was weird.
His
you could have used it again later on.
Girlfriend was pretty annoyed with him. She never said it.
But you could have used that bomb later on in the finale as well. He could have brought it out and gone, I'll set this up so it blows up here and we get Decker out of that part. And
But then something would have had to have blown up and that costs money.
That's the special.
Got it.
It's a special effect. Can't you use
stock footage?
Yeah, stock footage. Can't you just use stock footage for that?
Orange gels on people's faces and off camera.
Or that.
They used all their budget up on Cupid.
Mm-hmm. You're right. That actually was a special effect that required a little bit of care planning.
They really killed that guy.
Yeah. I got to say, in low budget movies, whenever there's a stunt with fire, it actually scares me. Because I just assume that guy was in a burn unit for the rest of his life.
Oh, God. I don't mean
it's the whole Kane Hodder story. Like, Kane Hodder was burnt on his first film, from the neck down. Yeah. And so
in his role as Jason Voorhees, that wasn't makeup? Is that what you're saying?
Well, when you see him in real life, he usually has gloves on, but you can sort of see it at the top, like at the base of his neck. He's got like the shiny skin of someone who's been burnt really badly.
Yeah.
His first role in Pride and Prejudice? Or
in Pride and Prejudice. As Mr. Darcy,
he's on a very different trajectory
Emma?
than that happened.
Yeah, no, he did stunts in his first movie and got set on fire, and the guy said, yeah, we'll be right, we'll do it. And no, it burnt him really badly.
Does anyone know what the record burn time is for a special effect?
Oh, I don't even want to know. It's just fire, that sort of stuff. Fire in movies like that terrifies me.
This is horrible. It says, according to this, it says it was because of these burns he was initially selected to portray Freddy Krueger.
Wow.
Yeah. That seems a little extreme because that dude has like one giant burn.
Yeah. But now he goes and reads for kids in burn units instead. Which would be kind of scary too, because he's a pretty intimidating looking dude.
Yeah. How many times did he play Jason?
From 7 to 10.
Oh, that late? Okay.
Yeah.
Kane Hodder was that late?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he's Jason in my favorite, the New Blood, and he went all the way through to Jason X.
Oh, I thought he came in a little bit earlier. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I would have guessed so too, but yeah, obviously not. Weird.
Better movies. Better movies.
Which ones are the older ones or the newer ones?
All of the Friday
any of them.
Oh, then this? Oh,
Yep.
Let's name every movie we know that's better than this one. I only have a couple. Fury Road.
Yep.
No. This is better
Nailed
than Fury
it.
Road.
Houseboat Horror.
Yep.
Houseboat Horror, yeah, I'll give you that one.
Shaitani Dracula.
Emma.
No.
That's where I depart from that.
From the Quad Edge Zone.
Shaitani Dracula is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Tango and Cash.
With South African Brian James, yeah.
Everyone but loose, but 1 and 3, but not 2.
Yes. Definitely.
The Die Hard sequel set in Moscow.
Was there one?
I don't know. I'm just making shit up.
They're
Man. I think there was.
I don't think I saw.
Like there should be.
I don't think I saw the last two. So
Das Vidania, motherfucker.
that could have happened.
Yippee-ki-yay, comrades.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tossed around a lot of potential titles, and they settled on With a Vengeance, just like they always do.
Didn't Justin Long? Wasn't he in one of those?
Sure.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing one. I do remember seeing one in the theater that was a later one, and I remember a scene in the car with him, with Bruce Willis and some kid. Was that Justin Long?
Well, in the last one, his son is a character, and you got the sense they were kind of grooming for a legacy handoff.
To Justin Long?
No, Justin Long did not play his son. I believe Justin Long was in the wrong
guy. The actor's an Australian guy whose name I can't remember.
Andrew Shaw. That's the only Australian I know.
Yeah. That's the name of every Australian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul
he
Hogan.
does martial arts and game shows too. He's very talented.
That's it. A Renaissance man.
Yeah, I don't know who it is, but I only played his son, and I stopped caring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much.
I never really cared all that much.
I liked him up through the Jeremy Irons one. What was that one?
Which one is that? That's got to be one
That's
or
the
two.
With the Vengeance. That one was good.
Yeah.
I like the first three, particularly 1 and 3.
Yeah, they're all right, but I definitely don't like them nearly as much as Jake Peralta does. That was kind of Die Hard was kind of Fury Road for me. I was like, yep, that's a movie. It's all right. It just never really impressed me as like this great.
We are learning some stuff today.
Yeah. Warning that people that I thought I knew are monsters.
Well, Matt has never watched Jurassic Park.
No.
What?
Never even watched it, much less doesn't like it.
No interest.
One of the best
first one at
movies
least
of its type ever. We tell him over and over again, but the more we say that to him, the more he will never watch it because he's stubborn.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
All right. Well, you sit still for 90 minutes, fucker, and I'll be right back. Oh, you got me. You almost had me. I love Laura Dern.
Life will find a way.
My wife is often told that she looks like Laura Dern. I love Jeff Goldblum. Don't like Sam Neill in it? I don't like Sam Neill.
He's fine. He's good.
Nah, fuck him.
No, he's fine in it.
You don't like Sam Neill?
I don't like dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are stupid. In the Mouth of Madness, it's all right. You know, it's a cooler concept than it is an execution. Every time I watch it, I get excited, and then I get about 30 minutes in, and I'm like, that's right. This just kind of flounders around, and then it ends.
In the Mouth of Madness, you're talking about? Yeah,
I like it, but
that's a lesser.
I like it more than I do every time I revisit it. Like, I
wanted to like it because I'm a big, first decade and a half or whatever Carpenter fan, and then I like Lovecraft stuff. I mean, it's got a lot going for it, and then I'm kind of like you. I just want to like it more than I do.
I think everything that happens around Sam Neill is cooler than Sam Neill.
It's a lot like Alan Wake. I know you guys aren't really. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know if Andrew plays games, but there was a game called Alan Wake about a writer where there's a bunch of like supernatural shit that happens where it's kind of also like I guess the dark half, that kind of idea.
The book, the Stephen King book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Stephen King thing.
Well, you don't like Stephen King?
That's what's about in the
Stephen King.
Oh, he hates Stephen King. Yeah.
I like Stephen King's storytelling, short stories, and I like his storytelling. I can't stand his writing. His prose.
Hang on. I have another book here you'll like, Matt.
Grizzly.
Oh my God. From the movie?
Yeah. I like that.
The novelization of
70s animal attack movies are my jam. But a novelization of that's so fantastic.
Now I want to find novelizations of other 70s, like The Manitou and like
Worm.
What's the other one? The Unborn or whatever that.
Prophecy?
No, there's one where there's like it's a pollution warning movie and like.
Yeah, it's Prophecy, I think. With the bear, like the giant.
Oh, it's called
I thought it was okay. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
The tagline for that one was, I always thought it was really good because it was like, it was longer than this, but it was something like, I can hear you breathe.
Ooh.
And I remember as a kid thinking, well, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
You can't not breathe.
I've never seen Grizzly. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
It's been sitting on my Tubi queue for a long time.
Me too. What's the other one I've always wanted to see? Shriek of the Mutilated?
I don't know that
Yeti,
one.
Yeti movie, I think, or something. Looks like sleazy fun.
Is it called Sasquatch? There's another pretty gory one with a Yeti Sasquatch type creature, like, tearing a bunch of campers in half and stuff. I don't know if that's what that one is actually called.
Have you guys seen Backcountry?
No.
It was on Netflix. You should look and see if it's on your Netflix, Andrew. It was based on a true story, and that movie fucked me and Renee up for a while.
Hang on. I think I know of that one.
Backcountry?
Yeah. About this couple that went camping off season, like the parks had just closed or something like that, or and I don't want to go too far into it, but it was disturbing. But it's very realistic and very you don't want to camp. Kind of does for camping what Psycho did for showers.
Well, after watching Revenant, I don't know if I want to watch any other movies that get realistic about bears.
And you don't want to see Backcountry.
Yeah. That's what I'm, just from the little synopsis here, that's what I'm getting.
It's really good and really upsetting.
I kind of do want to watch it now, but I'm also like genuinely scared too. Much more so than like a movie about, a misshapen axe murderer. Like this kind of stuff, if it's done well, it's just way more scary. I guess it's the obvious thing of like, it can, it's real. Like if you were stuck out with a bear, an aggressive bear, it wouldn't necessarily be a good time.
Jason, can you see if Backcountry is still streaming anywhere?
It's not on our Netflix.
You'll have to check Shudder though, because I don't have Shudder.
It's not on Shudder.
Oh.
All right. Well, it was on Netflix. I should have been singing his praises a year ago when I watched it. It's something that if someone needed an antidote film, one could offer it, but
this one was so good we don't need any antidotes? Is that how you're going to finish that sentence?
Hey, I'm just keep my eye on the timer here, and I'm happy to talk to you guys about anything except Dead Man Walking until it's time for final judgment. I've been enjoying the last 15 minutes more than any other part of the evening.
Man, my go-to not as legal streaming site doesn't even have Backcountry. God damn it.
Oh. Can you name names, or is that
That's a Putlocker site. Oh wait.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I did find it actually. I just had to make one word out of it.
Jeremy Renner was so good in Putlocker.
That was the porn version.
Breakout role. Oh boy.
He's so terrible. I talk about terrible actors. He's not the worst though. One of the worst actors for me is David Morse. I hate everything he's in. Yeah.
Huh. I don't. Huh. Okay.
He's just wishy-washy as fuck. Like there's no like if you blew on him he'd fall away. Like he just like a cobweb. I don't know.
What happened to Gary Sinise? Remember when whatever came out and they're like, oh my god, this guy is the next. Blah,
he ain't got no legs.
Oh, that's what happened.
What happened to him?
Yeah.
His legs got blown off.
Oh, right. He never recovered from that green accident.
Andrew, forgive me if I asked you this on the Scalps episode. Have you seen Invisible Man yet?
Yes, I have seen it.
Did we talk about it on that show? I feel like we might have.
I don't remember. But I did really enjoy it.
You did really enjoy it. Jason, you haven't seen it yet?
No. But did you see it also, Matt?
No, I saw it just came to Redbox because I wasn't going to pay fucking $18 to see that.
Yeah, it's
I like what's her name? Elizabeth Morse.
Is that her name?
And
Elizabeth
Moss.
Elizabeth Moss.
Hung up on David Morse now.
Right. It looks pretty intense, maybe.
Yeah, it's more like not a home invasion version, but it's more like it plays a lot with domestic violence and abuse and stalking and things like that. So there's some really good, intense scenes in it.
And nobody believes her, so it's kind of got an Invasion of the Body Snatchers element to it. Like,
yeah.
Only she.
Psychological stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy who plays the Invisible Man in it is my pick for Moon Knight in the TV series if they ever do it eventually, which they're supposed to, but eventually.
So he doesn't talk and you don't see him, so how does one...
He's in it at the beginning and the end.
Oh, okay. Spoiler.
You can't say much more without spoiling it, but...
Right, yeah.
And flashbacks,
he's also...
maybe.
If you've seen Haunting of Hill House...
Yes.
The TV show?
He's the brother, one of the brothers, the younger brother, one of the twins.
Oh, okay. I need to get back to that show, actually.
And he was really good in Hill House. Really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'd like him to play Moon Knight if anyone out there from Disney is listening.
Someone is.
The Invisible Man looks like, I think it's a Lifetime. Maybe it's Hallmark. I think it's one of those.
Oxygen.
They have about 6 of those movies, like exactly that movie every fucking day.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's some kind of, abusive stalker thing. And this is like a good version of that. Because those are, of course, all pretty terrible.
If you made him visible, it would be exactly that kind of movie.
Yeah.
And that's why I got greenlit, because it's different.
Yeah, exactly right. No, it is good. I liked it.
So did they abandon the Dark Universe?
Several times.
Several times.
Did they abandon the concept of it being an integrated, legit monster movie universe, and now they're kind of doing this soft reapproach of like, let's reinvent stuff, like the way The Fly was completely repurposed, and
they had that Dracula movie, and then that was like the end credit scene was him in the present. It was Dracula, the Untold Story.
Oh, Untold. Dracula Untold.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And so they supposedly had a post-credit scene where he woke up in modern times. And then they had The Mummy with Tom Cruise, which was never going to be good.
Nope.
And they had what? It was Russell Crowe was in that.
Part of that?
Russell Crowe was Jekyll.
Yep.
And he was supposed to be the connective tissue.
The Wolfman wasn't. That was the other failed one where they were going to reboot it but set him in the past. And that tanked.
Yeah.
That's not related to the Benicio del Toro one.
That is the Benicio del Toro.
That's the one I'm thinking of, the Benicio del Toro one.
That was supposed to be part of this universe?
No, the first time.
Okay.
And that tanked, it sunk faster than the Titanic.
Yeah.
And now Lee Winnell, who did The Invisible Man, has been put in charge of maybe a Wolfman one. I'm not sure. He's been given another one.
Mm.
And somebody else is doing another vampire one. Maybe Ava DuVernay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
interesting directorial choices. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee is it Lee Winnell?
Yeah.
He's been pretty successful, right? I mean, he's plugged along and done pretty well in the horror realm. Was he the Saw guy?
Yeah, he's
originally
one half of the Saw guys. Yep.
Yeah. And then
Andrew's neighbor.
Monies.
He's practically best friends with Andrew.
Oh, really? I mix up all those movies of ghosts and stuff, all those various. I can't keep them straight, but he's made at least like one of those.
Yeah, he was. It's funny because he was, when I was a teenager, there was a show on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings here in Australia called Recovery, and they'd play they've had the only live appearance of Metallica performing on TV in Australia, and lots of international bands and local bands, but there was always this guy that popped up and did movie reviews. But most of his movie reviews were horror movies, and it was Lee Winnell when he was like very, very early 20s. And this was, we're talking 20 years ago. And he would pop up and always had the same sort of taste in movies that I did. And I was like, oh, that guy's cool. And then when they went later on and said, oh, we've made this movie called Saw, it's by James Wan and Lee Winnell. I'm like, I know that name. And it was the kid from Recovery who used to do the movie reviews.
That's funny.
I think we did talk about this.
Kid made good.
Scalp
Maybe we did, because that's familiar, doesn't it?
It's ringing a bell, yes. That's funny.
Insidious, that's the one I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
He's involved in Insidious.
Not the Conjuring verse.
No.
That's James Wan instead.
James Wan.
Right. But that's like, the Saw thing. Saw kind of branched out like a tree. These people have all just continued on to do stuff. I still have never seen Saw.
It's interesting.
The first one's good. I really like the first one.
I saw the first two and I was good.
Yeah.
Or whichever one had a Wahlberg in it.
Second one, I think, was Donnie.
Yeah, the one that doesn't matter.
Oh.
So I just had a look at Lee Winnell's IMDb. He's signed up. Well, take this as you will, to do an Escape from New York reboot or remake. Yeah.
Well, I guess it makes sense because now we have sound and color, so we do have to remake.
They should remake Escape from LA instead, because Escape from New York was already good and Escape from LA was not.
Yep.
I'll take that.
They can escape from anywhere they want.
Yeah, well, it can't be like Escape from Chicago or Escape from Hawaii.
I mean, exactly. Hawaii, that would be a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It would be like cross with Michael Bay's The Island.
Ooh, I don't get for me, characters and actors are so married to each other that I don't understand the idea of like passing the torch. Like Bond did it right? Because they did it early and frequently enough to where it's built into the franchise to where but like whenever they say, like, oh, we're doing a new Kolchak, whatever, it's just like, but Darren McGavin is Carl Kolchak. Like, you can't, like, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. I don't want to see Chris Pratt be Indiana Jones. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I have zero interest in that.
Right.
So I don't know. There's certain stuff to me. Like, I know that Snake Plissken is not anywhere near as iconic as, Indiana Jones.
Some people.
He's pretty iconic, though. He's pretty. And Kurt Russell, I mean, he's. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's pretty. I agree with you. I don't want to see another Jack Burton. I don't want to see.
No, fuck no.
And it's
hell no.
If you want to expand the universe of those things, I may or may not be interested in it, depending on who's doing it and what your idea is. But you can do that without saying, "Well, here's Jack Burton again," and have it be some other actor. You know what I mean? You can go into this Big Trouble in Little China universe and do something, right? And obviously, it's problematic to actually do another one and have Kurt Russell as Jack Burton, because people do age. And I know for me personally, watching Harrison Ford as Han Solo at the end was not fun. You know, he was old. It was very obvious. You know, it was kind of. But I don't want another Han Solo. You know. I really don't. So, but it's a whole giant universe. So just create some new fucking characters, you know?
Yeah.
You know.
Or let Shia LaBeouf be his son, and then he takes over, because everyone loves Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, I guess that was the plan.
I did not make it through that movie, and I do not turn off movies off very often.
You have to make a better movie to begin with. I was just doing a different podcast last night. And cheating on you. And we were
supposed to do that for 90 days on either side of this recording, but whatever.
We were talking about Temple of Doom.
You signed that agreement.
There was a lot of disagreement about Temple of Doom going on, but then we all just kind of like we're kind of semi-arguing about Temple of Doom, and then it's like Crystal Skull came up, and no one had a dissenting opinion about Crystal Skull.
That brings everyone together.
Yeah, united in their disdain for Crystal Skull.
My kids have seen all 3 of the Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what that's my preferred.
And as far as they know,
there's only 3. It's a trilogy.
Yeah. The 4th one's an urban legend.
Kind of feel the
Never
same.
Heard of it.
Alien.
Mandela effect. I seem to remember there being a crystal something. Kate Blanchett. Nope.
Someone hid in a refrigerator to escape a nuclear blast.
Makes sense.
Tarzan was in it. They wasted John Hurt. Yeah, a lot of things.
Wow.
A lot of things happened.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of John Hurt, have either of you ever seen the movie The Shout?
Shaft?
The Shout.
No.
Shout, like yelling.
Shout. No.
It's I'm not sure whether it's streaming or anything like that, but it is one of the most intense movies I've seen in a while.
Huh.
I think you messaged me about this not too far back. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a great movie. It's a British movie, and it's just it's hard to describe without spoiling any of it. But it starts at like an insane asylum, and this guy's starts telling a story, and it's about how he weaves himself into John Hurt's life, and it's strange, but it just builds, and it's intense, and it's definitely worth a watch if you can find it.
It sounds cool, and it sounds a lot like an H.P. Lovecraft story. I forget which one off the top of my head, but it's one of the better ones, I think. Maybe The Thing on the Doorstep. That might be it. Where essentially there's a few things in his stories where people live for a very long time because they basically keep taking new hosts and force them out of their body. And it sounds like that's essentially the point of The Shout. And that shit is pretty creepy. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like it's on Amazon Prime for free in the States.
There you go.
For free?
No, am I wrong?
Well, what do you mean? Like if you have Prime, Prime's not free.
Well,
right?
Yeah, but everybody has Prime, don't they?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I'm part of everybody, aren't I?
I don't know. My mom just threw us on there, so I thought everybody had it.
Oh, nice.
Speaking of you guys, I just before I forget, there was a podcast I heard an ad for that is a docu-series format, like, I don't know if it's CBC or who did it, but it's done like a straight dry docu-series, but it's the case of Charles Dexter Ward presented as a true crime story.
Oh.
That sounds really entertaining.
Okay, that's cool.
So it's on my list of stuff to check out.
Yeah. I'm listening to a podcast now about, the song Winds of Change by Scorpions?
Yeah, I've heard about that series quite a bit.
It's interesting.
I've heard it's good.
Pretty fascinating. Yeah, it's Jason, it's about it being, the rumor is, or the legend is, that it was written by the CIA to promote change in communist countries.
Okay. From Crooked Media, I think is the...
Yeah, and it's just got like a bit of a... it's only about, I think I'm 6 or 7 episodes in, but there's so much of it, and they go into such different, like, it's all over the place, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, I've heard good stuff about that. There's another one, I just got in the CBC because of this series called Someone Knows Something, that each season is a cold case that this documentary director follows, like, through, maybe 10 episodes, whatever, but there's another series that they've been promoting during that called Uncovered, and the latest season is about the Satanic Panic and the fallout, the human damage that came from that, the accused and all that stuff. That subject fascinates me endlessly. The false recovered memories, just that whole kind of paranoia that was going on in the mid to late 80s, early 90s. And just the fact that so many people's lives were completely destroyed because of some poor medical practice. I find it fascinating. So I'm excited about that one as well.
I'll have to look that one up too.
So Dead Man Walking.
So we got very off topic.
Yep. Sorry, it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
But the good news is that grain of sand made an oyster. So I give of you, this pearl from my oyster gut.
Vivid.
That's also a defense mechanism. Okay, so let's do Final Judgment then.
I'm trying to find the shout somewhere, and I'm having no luck.
Amazon Prime.
I'll have to start a new Amazon Prime trial and cancel it. That would be annoying.
Stick it to Bezos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't let him get your money. He's got enough money.
He does have enough money.
So I'm going to go with trash. I'm gonna unfortunately err on that side. I think this movie, the premise has potential. The actors, you look at the package and you go, well, this could actually be a bit of fun. And it was a boring way to spend 90 minutes.
I accept your resignation.
Fair enough.
Jason?
I'm not going to contradict myself for the whole time. So I'm going to say the opposite of trash. I can never remember what the other name is.
It's in the title of the show.
Gold. I don't. Cool.
Literally
cool.
In the name.
I guess I don't think of cool and trash as antonyms, but whatever.
It's more nuanced than antonyms, but yes.
It's cool. It's good enough to, I don't know. If you like post-apocalyptic sci-fi and you've already watched all 92 of Wings Hauser's other movies, then go for it.
Okay. I'm going to side with my friend Andrew and give this a resounding trash.
Meaning I'm not his friend anymore.
It's, I think it had a lot of potential on, again, the package. There's actors, there's a premise, there's everything here to make a story except creative direction and competence. So
you sound like my grade school teachers. Always yammering on about my potential. And I'm like, hey, if my shit's good enough to get a good grade, give me the damn good grade. I don't care about your, perception of my potential. Maybe I just don't have any. You're wrong.
Sorry, I was watching my lava lamp. Were you saying something?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so we do have some work to do then, Andrew.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you guys have to come up with
I
alternatives.
hope you thought of an antidote.
Oh, I had one.
Literally anything else.
It's one I watched just recently, and it's not a great film, but I would say it's better and it's more fun. It's a movie called Destroyer.
Okay.
And it's one of those movies around the time of like Shocker, where the bad guy, he's killed, hundreds of people, and they put him in the electric chair, and then something happens. And years later, this film crew come to a prison. So I was going through the sort of the serial killer on the loose sort of thing. Come to this prison to make a movie, a women in prison movie, and the guy starts knocking people off. And it also has Anthony Perkins in it, who is probably the most well-known in it. But I watched it recently on Tubi, unless it's not on, it's only on the Australian version. And I had a blast with it, and it's only about 90 minutes, same sort of length, but it actually it's fun. It's silly and fun more than just boring.
What year is this? I can't.
1988.
88, yeah.
It's Anthony Perkins, isn't it?
Not the 2018 one. I was getting confused.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't find. Okay.
Yeah, not the one with Nicole Kidman in it.
Yeah, not that one.
It's worth a watch, though?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's
on a lazy day.
The cover is a guy with a skull face holding what looks like a giant jackhammer.
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay. Yeah. I'm already in.
With electric veins.
Yeah, okay. And look, it's a cheap made movie, but the guy who is the killer is having such a blast playing this killer that it's just worth it, almost just for him, and Anthony Perkins chewing the scenery as well.
It's got Lyle Alzado in it. That's all him. That's all you got to know.
Yeah.
Sir Lyle Alzado, he's been knighted. Okay, I will check that out. My to-be queue is obscene, but I will throw that in the pile. Okay, my antidote, in keeping with Wings Hauser month and the spirit, I'm going to offer something that you can find for free that has wings in it and is more entertaining than this, which is literally anything else that he did. But this one is Watchers 3. You guys remember Dean R. Kuntz's Watchers that had Corey Haim in it?
Feldman. I remember the book. We had a copy of it in the house.
I
think it's Haim.
I'm going to have a look. I'll look it up.
Yeah, Haim.
Okay. At any rate.
Is he in a wheelchair?
No, that's Silver Bullet.
Oh.
He never has his mouth closed ever.
Oh, wait. Does he have a wheelchair in Watchers? It's been so long. It's been 30 years.
I can't remember.
At any rate.
Anyway.
Watchers, he has some kind of genetically engineered dog as a pet, and then there's some military-made monster that's connected to it psychically or some shit. I don't remember Watchers at all. I remember it was entertaining as a Kuntz kind of story, but they cranked out a sequel at some point. I don't know if it had anything to do with the source, but the great news is that
they chase an intelligent golden retriever.
Yeah.
What? That's the creature? A golden retriever?
No, I thought there was a monster as well, and that the dog and the monster were linked because they were made in the same lab or something. I mean, again, it's 30 years. I don't remember, but
this third one sounds like Predator.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at. Is that the great news is that in the third one, someone gave Roger Corman $1 million and said, "Can you just make a Predator ripoff? We'll call it Watchers 3." So the good news is that Wings Hauser stars in a Predator ripoff called Watchers 3, and you can see it on YouTube in a really shitty VHS rip. So that's my antidote.
The cover of that I'm looking at is just horrible. The creature with the yellow eye and open mouth there with the saliva. I mean, that is just the ugliest art I've ever seen.
If you say I am watching a Roger Corman Predator ripoff, and you go into it with those expectations, you'll be pleasantly surprised. And I'm going to do justice for Mr. Jeffrey Combs. You need Netflix for this one, but he made a movie called Would You Rather about 5 years ago, which is delightfully twisted little horror movie. And he has a blast playing the villain. I've seen it like 3 times just because his performance is so great. So Would You Rather is definitely worth a watch.
I'd like to add a Jeffrey Combs thing also, if I may. Everyone has seen the original Reanimator probably, and that is great, of course. But I also really enjoyed was it the third one, I guess? The one set, I'm trying to find the name of it.
In the prison?
The one in the prison.
Yeah.
I saw it during H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival. I can't remember if we were at that same one together, but I don't think so. But that might have contributed to how much fun I had with it. But it was a lot of fun. I don't remember anything except they were in a prison and that a rat and a penis duel at the end of it over the credits. But the whole thing has that kind of crazy, slightly stupid energy to it, and it really works.
Beyond Reanimator.
Beyond Reanimator. If you've only ever seen the first Reanimator, I would recommend giving that a shot. It's fun.
I've seen Bride and the original on the big screen. One at a Lovecraft festival, and then the original when Jeffrey Combs was at the Portland Horror Film Festival. And he did a Q&A afterwards. That was awesome. I've never seen Beyond Reanimator on the big screen. I bet that was fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And Jeffrey Combs for me is The Frighteners, because he's amazing in The Frighteners.
He is. And you're right. I keep meaning to watch that with my daughter, and I never remember to pick it up.
I haven't seen that.
It's very underrated movie.
I haven't seen it since it was in the theaters, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Speaking of Busey, isn't there a Busey in there? Jake Busey?
Yes, the son. Yes. Back when Peter Jackson made good movies.
Yeah, before he started getting billion-dollar budgets and making overbloated trilogies.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy could make some good schlock. What was that one about with the alien bounty hunters?
Brain Dead. No.
Not Brain Dead.
Not Brain Dead.
Brain Dead is the lawnmower one.
I think we talked about this last time Andrew was on as well. We talked about your disdain for the Lord of the Rings films.
Yeah.
Bad Taste. Called Bad Taste.
And then I think Bad Taste was one of your antidotes.
Probably.
Oh.
So anybody out there listening that listened to the Scalps episode, I'm really sorry. We're having a Groundhog Day evening here.
How much overlap there is between the two.
It's just consistency.
Yeah. Yes, it's integrity and consistency.
That's it.
Well, anything else that we can promote? Jason, what's going on in your podcast life? Are you still doing Douglas?
Yeah, that was what I was recording last night. They're not really getting released much these days. You know, we're living weird adult schedules and hardly ever recording. And then he's kind of lost his editing mojo, so I can't really promote it. So I couldn't tell you when the next episode would come out. But there's like 200 of them. I wouldn't listen to it if you are at all serious about anything, because we just make each other laugh and talk about nonsense. It's a little bit similar to the last 45 minutes of this one. So, but we play D&D while we do it, or Pathfinder technically. But it's if you look up Douglas and Dragons, I'm sure you could find it somewhere.
And what's your character's name?
Daneland.
Daneland Cook? Daneland Cook?
No. Oh. Boo.
Come on, man.
I actually liked Dane Cook comedy like a long time ago. This was a long time ago. But I had a couple of recordings. Like I discovered Mitch Hedberg, I discovered Dane Cook, and I liked the stuff that I listened to. And then the world told me that I was supposed to hate it, and I guess I just listened to the world, because I just stopped listening to Dane Cook entirely. So I couldn't even tell you if he got worse. Like I think the stuff I was listening to was already older by the time I was listening to it. So I have no idea, but I was told in no uncertain terms that you were a fucking idiot if you like Dane Cook.
I've only seen bits of it, but Mitch Hedberg's a genius.
He was a genius, which also meant that some of his shit could fall flatter than you've ever seen a professional comedian fall. Like, some of it just didn't work. But the stuff that did work, of which there was lots, I'm sure he workshopped the shit out of his stuff, but everything he delivered, it sounded like he was just kind of thinking of it at the time. And he was hilarious. I still, every once in a while, his whole sun chip duck routine still goes through my head. And yeah, it was like, I used to like Stephen Wright back in the day, the super deadpan observational thing.
Yeah.
And Mitch Hedberg lives like a stoner version of that, and I've always gravitated toward that, like when they're, when it's good. So that's what he was. He was like my modern Stephen Wright.
Right on. And Andrew, are you doing any writing nowadays?
Little bits of it. We are working on a sequel to Cul-de-Sac.
Cool.
Yeah, this one's set in the 60s in a drive-in theater instead of a gated community. So we're working on that at the moment.
Same artist?
Same artist, yeah. Will and I are working together. And then, other stuff. I haven't really had anything else out recently, actually. So just working on that and plugging along, trying to get through these times.
Right on. And there will be a link to Cul-de-Sac in the show notes here if you want to check out Andrew's book. And what was an anthology you contributed to that was so great from like 2016?
Was it the This Nightmare Kills Fascists?
Yes.
Was it that one?
Yes.
Yeah, that one. That was fantastic. That one, good fun. I still can't believe I got picked to be in that anthology with some of the talent that's in there, because there are some incredible writers and artists in there.
Well, your story was great, so I will include a link to that as well, so folks can check that out. It's a good time to pick that book up.
I don't have that one. I'll have to follow your link.
Yeah. Well, you guys, thank you. Jason, you aside, Andrew, I'm sorry about this movie. I thought it would be funnier, but it just kind of made me angry. But I
still love you.
I appreciate you coming along for the ride and putting up with Jason's bullshit. Okay, Jason, come back in the room. Hey guys, thanks so much for your time and attention.
You're welcome as always. Thank you. That's cool. That's trash listeners over the years. Matt and I have been recording podcasts for a long time now. 8 years? I'll miss that. I understand why he wants to end the show, of course, but it's been a lot of fun. It's always fun.
It's always fun to talk to you, Jason. All right, guys. Well, again, thanks a lot. For That's Cool, That's Trash, I'm Matt Howell.
I'm Jason Farrell.
And I'm Andrew Shaw.
And you folks out there, stay home, stay safe, stay sane, and stay trashy.
That's trash.
It's garbage, folks.
I hate coming to the plague zone.